Time is running out. For the love of God, people, we are all on an inexorable march towards the unknown thereafter, and there's nothing we can do about it. The unknown, of course, being the release of Mortal Kombat 12, which Ed Boon teased a trailer for this week. I mean, it's just a teaser for the actual trailer. In fact, it's just a clock that ticks to 11 and then skips to 12 and it goes back to 1 because it's the 12th game, you see. And I guess after the events of the last game, it's widely suspected it will reboot the events of the game, leading back to 1 again. I mean, given what happened in the MK reboot, which retconned a lot of the original lore and story. Anyways, over-dramatization and confusion aside, I'm excited about the prospect of another frantic, fatality-laden foray into the fighting game series that can't say no to a reboot canon or 5, despite more details being thrown to the ground at the moment. And better still, that was just one of the things we learned about this week. And like a feral little news squirrel that I am, I've gathered 10 more for you. I'm Lorne, and here are 10 things we learned this week. This week we learned that it may take decades, but sooner or later someone's going to get any version of Doom to run on any device. Pregnancy tests, microwaves, calculators, you name it. And this week, after 13 years, we learned that Doom 2 RPG is finally available on the last place you might suspect, the PC. Originally released for Java phones on the 23rd of November 2009, then ported to iPhones on the 1st of February 2012, the game seemed destined to be forgotten, lost to the blood-soaked annals of Doom history. Built in the style of a dungeon crawler and developed by Doom Patriot programmer John Carmack and his ex-partner Catherine Anna Kang, the Doom RPG games were full-on turn-based spin-offs of the granddaddy of the FPS genre. However, in a skull-shattering turn of events, last year a group of fan developers called GEC Inc. released a port of the original Doom RPG to PC, and now they've come back for seconds in the form of Doom 2 RPG by reverse engineering the original code to get the game running on modern PCs. Quote, "We really hope you enjoy this and long live Doom," they tweeted. Thank you very much and see you next time. Amazing stuff. So now if you're the kind of RPG gamer who loves a little less conversation and a little more gun-toting, flesh-ripping Doom RPG action please, then the wait is finally over. Like every single fan of Skyrim, you're tired of waiting for the Elder Scrolls 6. Then there's great news! No, don't be silly. You're not getting any updates on the Elder Scrolls 6 because like I've said many times, it's like the Easter Bunny or Todd Howard. It's just not real. But what we did learn this week is that even after 11 years, the game and its fans still continue to hone and craft new ways of having immense fun in the game. How? Well, what if I told you there's a new mod that in essence turns Skyrim into a fight for survival against untold waves of zombies? Imagine The Walking Dead, but instead of Lucille, you have fireballs and dragon shouts, which sounds awesome, right? Nexus Mods user, Wormspleen, has created the aptly named The Walking Dead Zombie Apocalypse, which adds a zombie quest to the game in which the flesh-eating, brain-munching gits attacking groups, taking on guards, soldiers, and any unlucky denizen from Whiterun to Riften. But wait, there's more. If you're burned out on zombies, how about some Saturday morning nostalgia? That's right, another Nexus Mods user, Soy Sauce Init, has uploaded the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as followers that you can find by Rift and Fishery. They can join you in your battle against the terrors of Tamriel, although the lack of pizza might be a sore spot for them at some point. So you like, but between Skyrim and GTA 5, they may never need to be 6th installments of those franchises, because it seems the modding scene has got you, me, and every other gamer covered. This week we learned that the current internet gaming darling, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, is as dynamic as it is glitch-laden, because not only did we learn that the range of cosplay resulting from its customization is immense, but breaking the game comes with its own warning. Firstly, despite the initial size of the title being double that of the original game, the game has had 4 patches already, which attempt to address the seemingly extensive list of problems faced by gamers, which included crashes, low frame rate, even on high-end machines, and overall poor optimization, not to mention several bugs, the most prominent being an animation issue that would break a sequence later in the game. But it's not all doom and gloom. The relative freedom of customization for the main character of Cal Kestis has produced some rather charming renders of not only other Star Wars characters within the franchise, such as Kyle Katarn, but also characters such as Breaking Bad's Walter White and Wade Goodman from Dodgeball. But come on, I know gamers. You know gamers. And I know that you know that I know gamers. It won't stop here. And there's just the first of what will become many famous faces to grace the Star Wars Jedi Survivor universe. And let me hit you with some knowledge. I am more than willing to let these gamers cook. Cobras! This week we learned that despite a game's continued and never before seen success, game developers always find a way to continue proud traditions passed down from game to game, generation to generation. Take for instance FIFA 23, the final game of the 30-year EA and FIFA partnership before each go their separate ways. This week we learned that FIFA 23 is set to become the most popular installment in the franchise's history. Impressive stuff, and with everyone buying a copy of the game to presumably play with all of their friends, it's good you'll have plenty of people to play with, right? Wrong! Because this week we also learnt that FIFA just isn't FIFA unless there isn't some glaring, game-breaking bud provided to you like a hotel pillow mint you forgot was there when you hit the hay. If you play the PS5 version and you happen to have more than 100 friends on your friends list, then boy howdy, you're going to have some serious stability problems. A tweet from FIFA Direct Communication states, quote, "We are investigating reports of some players experiencing stability issues when launching FIFA 23 on PlayStation 5 with title update 12. Workaround, reduce your PS5 list to 100 or less friends and relaunch the game." Do you hear that? Being popular on a popular game breaks the game. Hey, EA Sports, I guess you could say, it's in the game. This week we learned that those DMCA hits keep coming and they don't stop coming, because this week, after a succession of leaks of The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, Nintendo, fresh off their lawsuit frenzy that resulted in one guy being fined essentially for life, have begun going after some of the emulation tools used to play the game early instead. Homebrew programmer It's Simon Time tweeted, "Nintendo has just issued multiple DMCA takedown requests to GitHub, including for Lockpick, the tool for dumping keys from your own Switch, which is absolutely ludicrous. Pirates aren't going to be sourcing keys from their own consoles." Worse still, it's been reported that this DMCA rampage has taken down the pages and videos of honest reviewers and creators, such as streamer Alana Pierce, who played by the rules and simply streamed reactions to already available gameplay footage. And all this happened, apparently, because physical copies were sold prior to the May 12th release date of the game. Man, I wouldn't want to be in Nintendo's crosshairs. What with the $1 billion the Mario movie made, as well as the income from their Canadian hacker fine, Nintendo's war on piracy is leading them to become the gaming world's equivalent of Dog the Bounty Hunter. Only Nintendo could never pull off a mullet like Dwayne could. In some lighter news concerning Zelda, one fan has done something incredible. But first, some context. When I was a kid, my parents queued up for 10 hours in full costume as Darth Maul and Yoda for tickets to the release of The Phantom Menace, which they went on to see 10 times in the cinema. I mention this because I know dedication when I see it, so believe me when I say that this week we learned just how dedicated some fans are, as a Legend of Zelda fan has just completed a staggering 17-month playthrough of the whole Zelda series, including most of the spin-off games, finishing them with just 5 days to go before the release of Tears of the Kingdom, even going so far as to rate and review them along the way, which of course led to backlash from fans who took offense at the temerity of someone expressing their own personal opinion. Thanos12345635 posted their accomplishment to Reddit, and I have to admit, I'm pretty impressed. Let's hope that all this effort is worth it when arguably the biggest Switch game of 2023 finally drops this week. This week we learned that no matter how closely guarded a secret or surprise might be, the moon landing, the Colonel's secret herbs and spices, or Cyril's status as a fully functional AI, sooner or later, it'll leak. But while that might not be a new lesson, what is new is that this week, in response to an unfinished version for the upcoming movie adaptation of Five Nights at Freddy's, which leaked online, fans of the franchise rushed to share warnings about the leak and went on to refuse to watch or cover the trailer on their social media or YouTube channels, in solidarity with the game's creator, Scott Cawthon, who also serves as a writer and producer on the movie. Quote, "I know that Blumhouse and Universal, and me too, have all worked very hard to make sure something really exciting is here to share. So the thought of the first look being spoiled was frustrating, and I was really dreading coming home to see what had all happened while I was away. And can you blame him? You wait 8 years for your movie to hit the theaters and a trailer hits the net in a worse state than Freddy Fazbear in one of those infamous jump scares. It's worth pointing out that the source of the leak, Kaiju Cooper, has since revealed, in an ironic twist of fate, he did it for the people." Solid Rikishi reference there, my guy, only he didn't have a signed NDA to worry about when he ran over Austin. But attempted vehicular homicide and broken NDAs aside, let's just hope that when the movie drops later this year, on the 27th of October, it's worth the wait and worth the hassle. Oh bother. This week we learned that the search for original content is reaching well below the bottom of the barrel as it delves into our warm, safe and cuddly childhood memories in search of a source of horror. Because this week we learned that an upcoming indie horror game titled 100 Acre Wood is in development, which, you guessed it, follows beloved children's book character Winnie the Pooh. Instead of the cuddly hijinks between woodland critters learning the value of friendship and the pitfalls of an all-honey diet, Pooh, Piglet and the whole gang are reimagined as horrific monsters bent on the demise of the player. This of course follows the widely publicised and panned 2023 horror movie Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, which followed a similar concept. only getting stuck in the rabbit hole of the critics and moviegoers in terms of dialogue and story. It's worth pointing out that the 1926 Winnie the Pooh book entered into the public domain in the United States on the 1st of January 2022. So I doubt these will be the last reimaginings of the series that we'll see. Let's just hope that the next people who take a run at a concept for Winnie the Pooh and the gang isn't another bear of very little brain. And finally this week, let's see nostalgia mixing done right, because this week we learned that Mouse, an early development title from Fumi Games, is attempting to take a lead from the wild success of the similarly premised Cuphead. You know, take a well-trodden game format, then overlay it with graphics and motion so nostalgic it makes you want to fire up Looney Tunes and chow down on Twinkies and Tootsie Pops. Only this time, instead of a side-scrolling adventure, the game is broaching the FPS genre, chronicling the tale of private detective John Mousto as he takes down waves of baddies with an array of cartoony weapons, with not so cartoony effects. Imagine Doom if it was played by kids. Oh yeah, right, it was. Oh yeah, despite the warnings. Okay, then imagine if BioShock was developed and designed by SpongeBob SquarePants. As you can see, it's still in very early development. In fact, it's just a few enemies and a few plain 3D blocks at the moment. But the excitement it's generated, and the stuff shown so far has got people's imaginations firing. And if the plot thickens on this retro rubber hose animation noir, we could have a real gem on our hands. Well, maybe it'll be plain sailing from here on the Steamboat Mouse. Perhaps Nintendo will finally achieve their dream of suing every single person on the planet, living or dead. And God willing, we will one day see the likes of Grand Theft Auto 6 or the Elder Scrolls 6 finally release. You know, preferably before the heat death of the universe. What I do know for certain is that, gamers and gamettes, was 10 things we learned this week. Hey, thanks for watching this edition. If you like what you saw here, then you should know we post new news, features and reviews almost every day. In fact, at the moment, Cyril is working on a review of Skinny and Franco, Fists of Violence. Can't wait to see how that one turns out. Plus a whole bunch of other videos. But here's the question I have for you. What game are you most looking forward to at the moment? If I'm honest, I'm looking forward to the Knights of the Old Republic remake. But it's on the PS5, which I don't own, and of course the studio and developer is encountering problems. So God knows when I'm going to see the light of day of that game. But let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. In other news, as said, Cyril is busy like a beaver working on new reviews and videos for you, so be sure to click that subscribe button and support what we're doing here. Until then,